All right, Google, VITALY. I think you have the most Google out of all of us. What were your thoughts when you saw?
Do I have more Google than Chris? I
Yeah,
don't
I think
know.
you have more Google than Chris.
You probably do, man. Probably do.
Possible.
It's up 7%. What happened? Why is Google not going out of business?
I guess the cloud is back. Cloud's back, baby.
Search is also continuing.
Whoa, hold on. Let's clarify. AI cloud. Okay, not cloud. Cloud is great. Everyone loves cloud, but AI cloud is something that Google has been working on for like ever. Remember when we did like live, the last time we did a live, and I asked you like Google AI cloud and how many goddamn like contracts were popping up?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Just search for the news and it'll come up. Yep. So I'm telling you, there's a few times where me and Vitaly agree on anything. The minute we do, y'all better start buying shit because so far the hit rate has been like 100 over 100. So,
Vitaly, what percentage of your portfolio is Google?
I don't know, but I do have a lot of Google. I do have a lot of Amazon. I had opportunities to buy when it was dipping, and I was buying. And I still don't think they're anywhere near where they're supposed to be. I still think it's a cheap price for both of them.
Dude, very cheap. Very.
Well, now hold on. Let me push back on that a little
I don't
bit.
feel like I made real money on Google and Amazon yet. I don't feel that has happened yet.
So are you guys saying long term, or are you saying in the next 6 to 12 months, given this S&P and where it's at right now? Do you think Google's not overvalued given kind of the market we're getting into, or you think
just think about how much free cash flow Google is throwing off right now? That is a cash business. That's like it's printing fucking money, right? And the valuation is nowhere near the next closest person that's the equivalent, which is Microsoft. I think Carlos, you put it on Twitter today, right? That how is Microsoft worth this much and Google is worth this much, even though they're fucking generating similar amount.
I think that was
similar
Matt money.
Returns.
That was Matt money?
Yeah.
That is kind of confusing why Microsoft has $1 trillion more than Google.
That's because Microsoft up until today was still growing. If you look at the numbers for Microsoft because of ChatGPT and all this other stuff, they're still growing, whereas Google had kind of like stagnated. And also there was like this concern that all of a sudden now ChatGPT was going to disrupt search, according to our friend Tanner. I don't know if he's in the chat, but you were wrong, Tanner. Absolutely fucking wrong.
So I put up a little chart from our chart friend. What was his name? Alejandro Chavez.
Yeah.
So yeah, Google seems to be doing good, almost at pandemic highs. I believe that's what he was saying, right?
Really? It's at pandemic highs right now?
Almost back to all-time high profits from back during COVID. Yep, almost, not quite.
Oh wow, no, you're right. You're right.
Great charts too. I actually signed up for a service.
Yeah, it's great.
Well,
service.
I'm not paying yet. I'll be honest, but I signed up to test out the service, so at least that part.
Yeah, we know the Bitcoin losses. Can't afford $10 a month. Not yet.
It's a really good chart. It's actually something that you would try to generate on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so Google's fine. YouTube. So I actually listened to the call. They said AI 93 times. What they were talking about in the context of AI ad recommendations, I think was the biggest thing. This is the thing that Snapchat will never be able to do, right? To give you such a good personalized ad recommendation tool using artificial intelligence at scale. I mean, it seems like they're hitting on all cylinders. There's nothing they said in the call that was like, oh, I should be worried about this. Even GCP growing at 28%, right?
Did you post something that some guy bought $8 million of Snapchat?
Oh, that guy got fucked. Yeah. August 18th, a guy bought $7 million of Snapchat $14 strikes calls.
And what did that come to?
Yeah.
I mean, Snapchat $9 right now or something.
Jesus.
You guys want to hear something really? You guys want to hear something really messed up?
Go ahead.
And this is something that should I don't know how it's possible, but did you know that even though Disney owns all the content with Disney and they have now Hulu, they have this new service where it's ad supported. Up until maybe 6 months ago, they didn't have any sort of AI or any recommendation engine
on Disney.
Did you know that? What? There's no recommendation on Disney
and Hulu too.
Yep.
That can't be right.
I kind of believe it for Disney Plus because it's just kids. It's not that hard.
Maybe not for Hulu, but I know for Disney Plus, there's no recommendation engine. None.
Okay.
So it's just there is so much wasted opportunity. And
they basically say, "Do you want to see Star Wars or do you want to see a Marvel movie?"
No, but I don't think it's their fault. They don't have any content to recommend, bro. What do you need a
recommendation
algorithm for?
That's one of the problems actually. they have a shit ton of content, but no one watches that content, and they're paying these licensing fees for shit that no one watches. Dude, all of these streamers now, there is a big move to take content off of their library that no one is watching, because at the end of the day, like if you have like a show that you're paying licensing fees for, whether people are watching or not, and it's just sitting in your library because you want to have the largest content library, tell me how that makes any sense whatsoever. So everyone right now, including HBO, Netflix, Disney, Paramount, whoever you want to talk, they're all kicking shit that like no one watches out of their content libraries right now. So like last year's flavor was, we want content, we want content, we want content. They're willing to pay anything for it. They were paying the studios like crazy to get it. Now it's completely reversed. And there is a monetization engine that Disney has that is unbeatable. And we'll talk about it at another time, because I'm still doing due diligence on it, and I'm still, not ready to completely put it out there. But dude, Disney is one of those. Disney is a sleeper, bro. We really should talk. We should privately after this, like, talk about Disney a little bit and do some DD on it, because it could be a very similar thing to a lot of what we're seeing with big tech, but believe it or not, one of my Patreon people, he actually sent me a link for a Peter Lynch interview where he actually spoke about Disney, because Disney is an asset heavy company. And if you I looked at their balance sheet and I was like, holy shit, their balance sheet is completely stacked with assets that like they're not even monetizing fully, so yep.
Okay. That's also one of the reasons why they're all pushing for the original content now, because the licensing fees go on forever, but the content fees, for producing it yourself, go away, right, within the calendar year that you make them. Plus, they're using AI to better target what content to make. So you're seeing a lot of these streamers trying to shift more towards original content. Somehow both woke and asleep. Funny.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing Disney gets flack for is paying $70 billion for 20th Century Studios.
Yeah,
45 years ago.
That wasn't one of their best moments.
That was a tough one.
But they're doing things to mitigate that. And the more that again, like Chris said, we'll talk about it a little later, but the more I look into the company, this Apple thing, Apple and Disney partnering together, it seems more realistic now than it did when it was first brought up.
One thing, Apple and the entire executive team was at the VR goggle event. Did you guys know that?
You mean Disney and the entire
Disney's entire no. Yeah, they were at the launch event.
Yeah. So
okay, any more thoughts on Microsoft, Google before we move on? Any other I mean, Google killed it, Microsoft's doing fine.
Yeah, but Microsoft got punished. The Lizzo factor comes in again because they were down.
They recovered. They recovered pretty much.
They recovered. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the market was upset. They barely missed on revenue, and so slowing. Oh no, they're actually still down. Oh shit, they're at 3. They're down. They're down $12. They're down 3.6%.
Right. So I told you expectations.
So so basically, for at least Google and Meta too, as soon as this ad apocalypse lifts, which might be lifting because Google's sort of saying, "Hey, we're doing fine." I think that's when everybody starts running. But I think that's a story for possibly like next year. We have to know that rates are actually have paused. They're coming down. And then, I mean, Google's a double. I know doubles aren't sexy, but Google's a double.
No, you're right.
Depending on how much cash you in, a double could be really
I have a lot of cash in Google. I didn't buy any, the thing I didn't do at $85, which sometimes I don't do and I don't understand. I have to smack myself. I didn't buy calls. I bought Amazon calls, but I didn't buy Google calls at 85. So a little upset about that.
This is what I was saying about Disney when we first talked about this. Like, this to me seems like the perfect play for long call options. And if you want to buy the shares. But I just think, the long calls seem like the move to me. So that's where I'm looking right now. And
so why is Microsoft getting punished? It's just because the revenue growth?
Because expectations, bro.
They're also at all-time highs.
That's true.
Everyone was expecting Beyonce and they got a Lizzo. With Google, it was the opposite. Everyone was expecting Lizzo and they got Nicki Minaj. So
but also, when you hit an all-time high, when you think about an all-time high means that no investor has lost any money. Like no one's lost money that is
Yeah,
only
but now you need the
only-
next sucker to come in.
right now you need the next guy to come in. So the people there, they want to say you reach the top.
It's
of the
like the
mountain,
Bitcoin thing you guys are getting ready to
Yeah,
do. In
listen,
September.
I'm waiting for the suckers at the $100,000 mark to take my Bitcoin.
And they're gonna form one. I think, like just as a side note, I think that's gonna be one of the biggest regrets is not participating in that, Amit. Seriously, it's going to be glorious.
I'll put $1,000 in it. I'll have 1,000.
All right. Oh, but before we switch over,
this guy buys call options at the drop of a hat, but when it comes to investing in like a
no, I should be saying the opposite. How is Bitcoin not more risky than a call option on a real company that is doing?
It's not. We're telling you it's not risky. I mean,
No, but you realize someone could totally disagree with that, right? They could say a call option.
No, I'm just saying both. I'm just saying both.
They could disagree with it. They could disagree with it. But I mean, I've tweeted a couple things about crypto because it doesn't seem like very many people are interested in it. But we have 14 years of trading data on Bitcoin. That's the equivalent of almost 32 years.
Yeah, but I know exactly what Robinhood's net interest income is going to be on August 2nd. I can't that's not as risky to me on my call option versus Bitcoin.
Right, but what you're doing is you're talking about a company that trades on the U.S. stock market, comparing it to like the euro.
No, but that's my point. That's why it's less riskier.
But it's like comparing it to the euro. You wouldn't talk about Robinhood in the same context as you would the currency of the country. So it's just they're just different things, even though they look the same on your app. But before we move on, some people were asking about like when the next Patreon call would be, and since we were talking about Apple and Disney and whatnot, we should post that video, Vitaly. I have it ready.
I still got to look at it. Yeah,
take a look at it. This was the Meta versus Apple debate that we did with Rango and Vitaly's brother. It was a good debate. It was actually really good when I watched it again. We had terrible sync issues, but even as an audio only podcast, it's awesome. And so
one person in the chat put Mel Shahid put Google artificially inflated 20% of revenue went to buybacks. So what? They're generating cash.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like, that's great.
First of all, I want them to buy back shares, so my shares are worth more. Okay. It's the Warren Buffett model. There's nothing wrong with this. Okay, this is the way it works.
Yeah,
just because they're spending on everything else they need, right? Like that's
Apple is inflating its stock also by doing massive buybacks. Anyone complaining here?
That's what got them.
Ridiculous.
That's what got them with it, and they're paying a dividend. I mean, it's like a perfect stock.
What do you want them to do instead? Put the money in treasuries that generate 4 or 5% when their own business is generating right now like 20 times.
You know, this is a person who doesn't understand. No offense. This is a person who doesn't understand investing, because in the beginning, I used to think that way too. Oh, these rich people buying back their shares and they're just doing inflating things. And this is not real. They're not actually making any money. Well, yeah, but as soon as you learn how business works, this is exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's what happens when you listen to too much Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that kind of mentality.
It's that mentality, which I'm guilty of it. Like I emptied or I maxed out my donations to Bernie Sanders every year that he was running. But
wait, what?
Back in the day, yeah, I did.
He just outed himself, everybody.
Wait, when you were a socialist?
Well, no, not a
communist. I like to call him communist.
I liked a lot of what Bernie was saying when the 2 times that he ran. But I mean,
but it never clicked in your head when he said billionaires are evil. Or you were never like, that's kind of stupid.
That's because Carlos wasn't a billionaire back then.
Carlos had 10x of Bitcoin.
I didn't have any Bitcoin back then. I was like, yo, get away from my Bitcoin, Bernie.
This is before Tesla, guys. This is before Tesla went up.
No, think about that though. Before Tesla 10x's and you make bank, you're ready to vote for a guy who's willing to eat the rich. Like, that's crazy, right? How the world changes.
Okay, but that's assuming that what do they say? Correlation means causation. It wasn't because of his.
Okay, so what changed? Why are you donating?
Honestly, it was the Nevada primary. That's when I said this thing is freaking rigged. I don't know if you remember that. The Nevada primary that he should have won. That was basically when
Hillary stole
the Super Bowl.
That was right? Well, no, that was that was the one with Biden. The one with Biden.
But even before that, the one with Hillary, I think she.
Oh yeah, that was Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who we talked about yesterday, who was making 50% on the market in a down year for everybody else. Yeah, she was horrific in that.
Bernie and all these guys, all these guys do have good ideas. Okay, so it's just they go too far. The problem is they go too far. They forget that they're in a capitalistic country, that they should You know, in fact, Bernie is a capitalist. He writes books. He makes money. It's not like he's a multi.
He's got 3 houses.
Yeah, he's
dude's
a
got 3
multi-millionaire.
houses.
But he's not. But to be fair, he's not like the rich you think about. I think his net worth is somewhere like $3 million. Most of it was proceeds from his house.
That's the 0.01% of.
No, I know, but if you're a politician, if you think of a politician, he's supposed to be making 100 grand, 200 grand, not $3 million. Okay. But that's not how politicians work. We know that they make millions of dollars doing it. He's probably the worst out of the bunch who make way more than the 3 million.
Because if you compare,
why does he need a book, bro? Why does he need to tear down the trees? He cares so much about the environment. You can't make a PDF and then give it to. You see, the hypocrisy is what grinds.
Right, there you go, man. Call him out. Call him out, bro.
One thing, real quick. Cam said, I would rather them acquire companies than do buybacks. The problem is Google cannot acquire companies, otherwise they'll get hit with all sorts of antitrust lawsuits now. So even the major tech companies like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, whatever, none of them can actually go out there and buy other companies right now. Even if they had a good company, like a small company that they could actually integrate into their main business, because of all the anti-monopolistic like basically legislation, they won't be able to do that. So the only thing they can do is one of two things. They could either pay out dividends as qualified dividends, or they could buy back shares. So right now, this because Google is so undervalued in share price, it's really smart that they're buying back shares now rather than when the stock price is much higher.
Well, all Kathy Woods is saying to take 1% of that instead of putting it into your own stock buybacks, just buy Bitcoin. That's all I want them to do. Take 1% of that free cash and buy Bitcoin. If
you want Google to buy Bitcoin,
You
want Google to buy Bitcoin?
Yeah, if they bought 1% Bitcoin, sure, why not? What's 1%? What's 1% of them? They all, and here's the thing: if all the companies in S&P 500 did that, and this was based on 2019 data, Bitcoin's price would be $400,000 one Bitcoin. That's just 1%. 10%. It's like
the thing is that, Carlos, that's probably going to happen, but me and you will long be gone.
I know, and part of me is like I don't want to be the guy that watches it go to those ridiculous numbers and doesn't have something, right? Well, this is part of the reason why I'm waiting for that September dip to maybe buy that extra portion that I'll just hide for myself and say that's going to be for the kids for that moonshot.